Hello everyone, and I'm Sheen Birmal, and I welcome you all to Sheen Talks. Today, we are celebrating India's 80th Independence Day. But have you ever wondered what it took for India to become free? We all know that India became independent on 15 August 1947. But freedom did not come in a single day. It came after many years of struggle, courage, and sacrifice. To help us understand this amazing story, I have with me Ashwin Mathur, a renowned historian and scholar who specializes in Indian history. Welcome, Ashwin.
Thank you so much, Shireen. It's a pleasure to be here. When we talk about Indian struggle of independence, it is not just about the famous leaders. It is also about those millions of common people. The soldiers, farmers, women, workers, everybody who sacrificed their lives to make what India is today. And there was once a question that why are we being governed by the people who are not even Indians, who are not from our country? And I believe that this question was the spark which ignited the fire of Indian struggle of independence.
So let's go back to one of the earliest and most important events, the revolt of 1857. We often hear about brave people like Rani Lakshmibai, Bahadur Shah Zafar, and Kuwar Singh. What exactly happened in 1857 and why is it so important?
See, the revolt of 1857 started when the Indian soldiers in the British Army rebelled. And it was not just a smaller phenomena, limited to places like Meerut or Kanpur. It spanned across a very large area, and I will not be wrong if I say the whole nation. We come across big names like Rani Lakshmibai, Nana Sahib, Tatya Tope. All those who sacrificed their lives. But after this, this revolt was eventually defeated. But after this revolt, a direct message was given to the British Empire that Indians are capable of fighting for their independence, which is very crucial, I believe.
Truly. After 1857, the resistance continued. Then, in 1885, the Indian National Congress was formed. However, the early Congress did not immediately demand for British to leave India. Why did the demands for freedom become stronger earlier?
See, at first, people were like that British would bring reforms. They expected the Britishers to come up with policies that would contribute to the betterment of Indian society. But slowly, unhappiness with the British grew. And, for example, in 1905, the partition of Bengal, right? After that, the British thought that Indians would sit quietly suppressed. But Indians came back even stronger. They came up with the Swadeshi movement. They boycotted foreign goods. They had the policy of Make in India, and which I feel was another step towards what we call an Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Then came a leader whose name almost every Indian child knows, Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi believed that people could fight injustice without using violence. He led several important movements like the non-cooperation movement, the civil disobedience movement, and the famous Salt March. Ashmit, do tell us why was Gandhiji's method of non-violence so powerful?
See, Gandhiji's method of non-violence, first of all, was very unconventional at that time. When people believed that violence could bring everything, Gandhiji came up, he said that we should do satyagraha. We should appeal to the conscience of the person who is opposite to us. And, I think it was a very effective method, at that time, especially when violence was all around. So, yes, I think Gandhiji's ideas of satyagraha, Gandhiji's ideas of peace, they were very crucial in shaping a modern India. And if I take example of the Salt March of 1950, the Britishers levied tax on salt, which was a very essential commodity at that time. But Gandhiji and his followers, they walked up to the sea coast and they produced salt, giving a simple yet powerful message that Indians were capable of gaining their independence peacefully.
Precisely. But Gandhiji wasn't the only one fighting for India's freedom. We also have brave revolutionaries like Bhagat Singh and Chandrasekhar Azad, and leaders like Subhash Chandra Bose who formed the Indian National Army. Their methods were very different from Gandhiji's. So was everyone in the freedom struggle fighting in the exact same way?
No, we have to understand that different leaders in the Indian history, They had their own way of thinking, they had their own perspective, they had their own ideas. Right? Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, he believed in building an army. Bhagat Singh and his fellow revolutionaries, Gandhi, he believed in peace, he believed in satyagraha. Well, Bhagat Singh and his fellow revolutionaries, they believed in stronger action. And Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, he believed in building up an army to fight the British. All their methods were very different, or their ideas different, as I said. But their motto, their core was the same, an independent India, and I think that is very necessary.
True. But independence came with a price, the partition of India, which caused great pain and suffering. So, when we celebrate Independence Day, should we remember both the joy of freedom and the difficult events that came with it?
Absolutely. I think history is not just about the good moments that shaped what India is today. I think we should understand that partition and the happiness of Indian freedom, they are two sides of the same coin. Right? When we're studying about how India gained independence on the midnight of 15th August 1947, we should also understand that millions of people who were displaced, millions of people who lost their lives at that night in the partition, it was also a very crucial moment in Indian history. So I think yes, it is really necessary to understand both the sides of getting independence. True.
And now, 80 years later, we live in a very different era. So, Ashwin, if you had one message to give to the children listening to Sheen Talks, what would it be?
I think the one and the foremost message would be that value your freedom and your sovereignty above anything else. So many people fought for you. They sacrificed their lives for you. They sacrificed their lives for you only so that you can have the freedom to learn, you can have the freedom to speak, you can have the freedom to express yourself. And obviously, we might not fight the battle which they fought, but yes, I think we can cherish, we can honor, we can respect their sacrifices by being responsible citizens, by being good people, and by following every rule and regulation which the Indian law has.
And I think that is the perfect message to end with. Because Independence Day is not just about flags, celebrations, and holidays. It is about remembering the people who helped India become free and understanding that the future of India is in our hands. Ashwin, thank you for joining She Talks.
Thank you so much. It was truly a great experience.
And to everyone listening, remember, India's freedom was not just won in one day. It was built through courage, unity, sacrifice. On behalf of Vishnu Bharati family, we wish you all a very happy